Hello, here in the UK we have had some horrendous summer weather so far. From having a very wet winter to a dry spring, suddenly we have gone into absolute heat waves, and it's not staying constant. We will have a week or 10 days of incredibly hot weather, drying winds, then it'll get cooler. We might get, if we're very lucky, a shower, but it's very, very little, maybe a couple of millimetres. Then again, we get another hot spell, and then again, another hot spell. So what are our poor plants doing? Hello, I'm Rosie Hardy. This is Rosie Hardy Gardening. If you enjoy our videos, please do subscribe to the channel. So I just wanted to give you a state of what is happening here in the UK and what you can do to help some of the plants that you've got in your garden to be able to survive these extremes. Now, you do have a lot of those summer dormant perennials, and some of the perennials that wouldn't normally become summer dormant are switching over to becoming summer dormant. It is a natural switch within the plants which goes, I can't cope with this. I'm going to shut down all of the top growth. I'm going to keep what I've got at the bottom, keep all my roots going. And then when the weather becomes more clement, we get more rain, it's a little bit cooler, I will start to regrow, maybe have another flowering, and then I will be fine. So they have their own safe fail mechanism. But things that are naturally summer dormant, so something like this Lamium, is still trying to set its seed. And that's not going to help it, because whatever happens in this sort of weather, it's not trying to take the nutrients back down out of this bit of the plant. So actually, if you've got one or two of the spring flowering things which are looking a little bit like this, then it is a good idea to stop them wasting their energy and just taking off that top growth. So you're literally just you're taking off is what were the old flower heads. Now, you could have done this anyway already, but you may find that you perhaps were waiting for something to happen more, and they do that. Don't go right the way down to the bottom, because it needs some of this to help shade what is the crown. So you're just taking off that excess, so it's not trying. If you look at the amount of I've cut off there, you look at all of that, it's trying to push energy into keeping that alive, and it's not doing it very well. It's not keeping it looking. Whereas if it puts all its energy into trying to keep all of this lovely young growth at the bottom here alive, it will be much more successful and a better plant for you next year. Now, that hasn't made it completely disappear. This lot of growth that's here is going to create some shade over the top of this. This is a Lamium, this Orvala, this would be in the shade anyway, but it will just give it a little bit of a help to get rid of some of that material that is there. This can then go on your compost heap, because you probably haven't had a lot that can go on there. So that is what I would do with something like that. Some of the spring stuff which is starting to look a little bit drab, a little bit of a struggle with some of the older leaves, just cut a few of them off, give it so that it's not wasting energy trying to keep that stuff alive. Now, other things that you can help and actually make sure that they will keep going and do well, the things like the Geums. So the Geums are normally really robust, but these need deadheading. So yes, so that's an instant thing you can do. The deadheading is taking it right off down in the bottom, like so. You can do it with snips, or you can, if you can manage to pull it out, you can pull it out, but quite often it's just as easy to use a pair of snips. And then you will see that they have got these orange and dead and dying leaves on the outer side, and again they are wasting energy trying to keep those leaves going. So you can reduce it down to this lovely fresh stuff in the middle there. I would keep one or two of the other older ones there, but then I would just cut off this other growth like so, so that it has got a couple of protection older leaves, but you've reduced that leaf by what, 40%? That's 40% less water needing to go into that plant. So you're helping it, and it will then have another reblooming when it gets enough of water into it. So this is something to think about when you're looking at your plants. What can I do to stop you actually wasting water yourself? So not you physically watering the plant and wasting water because the plant's using it, you know, it is then using it to try and keep something alive that really shouldn't be there. And a lot of this stuff would have disappeared if we had animals or herbivores in amongst our plant material. So out in the wild, that would have all been taken off by animals because they would be wanting to feed, so they would be nibbling plants back. So all you are doing is actually doing exactly what nature intended to happen to a lot of this material. You've now got a load to go in your compost bins. Not everything when you have a plant and it's looking sad is about cutting it back. Sometimes you may be wanting to remove something, but do be aware if you remove stuff out of the ground, if everything is in the ground, you remove and you break that surface tension of the soil, you are creating more evaporation. So please try to not remove, try not to dig out weeds. If you've got weeds, cut them back. Do not hoe, do not try and do any digging at all to your soil while it is hot. Also, don't try and help by now putting mulch on top. Putting mulch onto dry ground does not help one little bit, okay? So something that a lot of people, they either love or hate, is the Alchemilla, and it's doing this at the moment, and it really does help this plant to give this a haircut at this time of the year, because it's, again, wasting energy. And just if you grab it all together like that and cut over the top, it's quite easy and quick to get rid of all of this stuff like so. And then you will see that it's got a wonderful green piece in the middle. Now this sort of tidying up would not be done in mid-July normally. It would probably be done in August. But because we're in this heat, there are jobs that we would do later in the season we're having to bring forward. So don't just think of your jobs as being a monthly task. They are seasonal, and the season here in the UK has shifted forward. It's concertinaed a bit. We had a moderately early spring. Everything is flowering early, therefore all the jobs that you would normally do are coming along early. Tanacetum, now this lovely thing, Tanacetum jackpot, I should have myself cut this back after flowering. It's sending up lovely growth here. There is no point in it trying to keep all of this here. Now I wouldn't cut this right down to the ground. Again, I would leave a few stems there, just because sometimes something like this will actually come back off this off these stems as well, but it's growing nicely in the base like that. That's not trying to waste energy, it's wasting food, it's wasting water, trying to keep all of that top growth going to set seed. I don't really need that, so cut it back like that. This is going to be a much happier plant, and you're not going to waste water watering it as well. And then the other thing is you can go to some plants and they are flowering quite nicely, and this is when people have a problem. Now this is not obviously flowering brilliantly, it needs a dead head. This is a Leucanthemum, I'm not sure which variety, probably one of the older varieties. Now normally if you were deadheading you would take off, and this is actually doing what I always say, do they die nicely? And then the answer of this Leucanthemum, no they don't. You've got these horrible brown, horrible dead flower heads there which need to be taken out. Now normally with a plant like this in the garden you would go around and you would take off the dead flowers like so, going down to a leaf base, going down to the next flower. It also reduces the height of the plant, so you're not having to worry about the actual thing. Now there are a couple here which I should have removed because those are actually just going over. So you're left with a plant that's a reasonable size. Now that's fine in a normal summer, but look at this basal leaf. This basal leaf is telling you this plant is under stress. The leaves are sagging. They're starting to change into autumn colour. This is the natural way of the plant switching off and going, no, I really don't need to be doing all of this. I need to save myself. So what you should do instead with plants like this, which are struggling, rather than just keep on deadheading, Give them a bit of a break. Take the flowers down. Go down to a level of around about here. Cut to where there is a leaf axis. So when you're cutting down, go to where there is a leaf and cut just above the leaf like so. And then you are keeping the plant at a point whereby you know, it's something that you can still see. You can see the plants there. Oh, it's quite normal to go, oh, but these flowers are still doing something. No, even those two flowers are going to take too much out of this plant. So you need to be cutting off anything like that, taking it down, and then the plant is going to be, right, I've got them all at around about the same height like that. You can also do a little bit of removal of leaf, because any of this leaf, it's not pulling off very easily. So any of this leaf that is here that is looking really sad, again, doesn't really need to be there. So at the same time as actually cutting it back like that, just remove a few of these leaves. You're taking perhaps 30% of the leaf off, but you are stopping the plant from actually trying to trying to lose too much of the energy that it is putting into keeping the rest of the plant growing. So if you see something where the leaves are struggling, and the more, you know, even when you water, those leaves are not perking back up, then do this, cut back a little bit, and then your plant will look just so much happier, and it will be able to absorb water. Because the other thing that happens when these leaves are there and they're across like that, they're stopping the water getting down into the crown if there is any around. So if you can clear the base so that whenever, even if you're watering or it starts to rain, that it comes down, then that is better. So you can see now this plant has got probably 50% less of those floppy leaves down there. It's got no flower, it's got none of this tall growth. That is what you need to be doing to some of the plants at this time if they are looking weary, if they are looking heat stressed. And remember, if you're watering, please spot water, water with a watering can without a rose on, and direct it into the bottom of the plant. And please, if you've put in new trees or new shrubs in the spring or the autumn, then make sure that you prioritise watering those above the herbaceous. The herbaceous has its own switch off. It will die back down. Yes, it'll look a little bit tired, but as soon as the rains start again, it will all come back again. So that is the state of play in the gardens in the UK. Some of this, I'm sure, can be transferred across to other countries to looking after things. So please look after your gardens, please look after yourselves. Thank you very much for watching, and please subscribe to the channel. If you want to watch another video of mine, YouTube thinks this one is perfect for you.